Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you the all new Cricket Captain 2024 stats pack and how you can use it to enhance your saves. So what is the pack? Well, if you've watched any of my YouTube saves, you would see me use data to assist with player selection across multi-formats, use it to set players in international players, optimize my team, sign players and so forth. It's essentially a Power BI dashboard that gives you access to all the data from the game that's pulled off with a VBA script. And you can now get this. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you it working. I'm going to show you the link of where you can get it and then how to use it. It is pretty amazing. So this is, I'm on, let's start on the home screen. This is where you come in. This links to my YouTube channel. This links to where you can buy it. This clears all the filters. But essentially, you click on batting and it gives you access to every single scorecard that has been loaded into the Excel database. All this calculates automatically, so if I want to look at Ben Duckett as a player, I can do that. And this is against all the filters that are on at the moment. In this case, there's no filters on other than season, so I can look at Ben Duckett. But I might want to look at Ben Duckett in T20 cricket, or players just in T20 cricket, and I can look at Ben Duckett there, and I can see how he's going. And I can look at him by clicking on the player, so it gives me just his stats. And if I want to change, I can have a look at how he's going in test match. And there's some alarming trends. You see absolute domination, but strike rate's on the way down and his average is down into the 20s. Likewise, if I want to look at ODI cricket, again, another format that he did really well in, his average is on the decline year on year, but overall a 46.80 average. I can then click on these sub-menus under batting, and I can see his season by season stats. I can look at the trends of all his latest innings across the bottom here. If you want to make it bigger, you just click on focus mode, and I can see every single Ben Duckett ODI innings that he has played in the game, and I can see peak Ben Duckett here, and then there's a trajectory on the way down, and these 50 scores are coming more and more sporadic. You can see how he's done against every single opponent, his average per opponent, and then detailed stats against every single opponent as well. All the columns are sortable, just click on them and we can see against the West Indies he's had a great time scoring all those runs. Likewise against Pakistan he averages 12 with an average of 51. But whereabouts are those games? Well, you can actually look at the location of the game. So he averages 42 at home, but we can see here 33 against New Zealand from 198 runs. Pretty poor in Australia as well. In the first innings of games he averages 58, but in the second innings when we're chasing he averages 28. There is a division section which is built out for your really your domestic cricket. You can add a division in there and that would allow you to look at Division 1, Division 2 players. You can break out how he does home and away. So at home, away he averages 50, at home he averages 42.66. You can expand any of these and get a full plethora of details. Look at the different batting positions that he's been using. He's always been a #1 guy for us. And you can view his cumulative amount of runs and cumulative average in the game since it started. So his average is slowly but surely working its way down. And if we change the filter to be up to 1,000 innings, we can see it is really coming down, all the way down to 46, which is pretty much the lowest it's been since inning number 9 that he's played in this format of the game. But you might have a young player coming through and you want to go, how good is he? Well, actually what you can do is see the amount of runs players have scored per inning. So we can see Ben Duckett's red line all the way to the top, and just underneath is Phil Sol, who is about 500 runs shorter. But there is a guy here, 2,655 runs from 54 innings, G. Mayer, who is almost as good as Ben Duckett has been so far. Just by adding and removing filters under the batting, I can see if I click on positions, I can see the batting average of every single position so far in the save, with #1 and #2 generally being the highest, #4 being very good, and then it dwindling down. I can then click on Ben Duckett and I can see how Ben Duckett goes against those. James Rue's been a superstar for us in this save, and you can see he's averaging over 50 in each of the positions of 5, 6 and 7. Likewise, Rian Ahmed has been exceptional in this series, but as soon as I bat him up the order slightly, it doesn't quite work out. Bowling tab gives you every single piece of information you've just seen, but for bowlers. So you can look at all formats, no formats, 550 wickets for Gus Atkinson, an average of 23. I generally use this quite a lot for T20 cricket and ODI cricket. This is our ODI cricket. We've got the average per year, economy per year and strike rate per year. And the bowl team is set to England. can see Atkinson with 175 wickets, Rian Ahmed with 123. And if we look at Gus Atkinson, his average per year is coming down every single year. He's been exceptional. His economy rate per year is down to 5 now, which is amazing. Likewise, we can see Rian Ahmed really performing superbly, except this year, where his average strike rate and economy rate are up. And where this really came to fruition with me is I found 2 players in the domestic system, Ash and Pears, and they have both come in and been exceptional. Pears with a 4.28 economy rate in this format of the game. You can see how far he is below the 5.01 bowling economy rate of the team. Same for Ash, come in and done a wonderful job. And it works just as well for T20 cricket, if not better, where I can see Ash's economy rate of 6.8 and 7.3 in the years is brilliant. Likewise, with Pears 8, 6.9 and 7.6. You can also see his strike rates on a downward trend. You've got exactly the same things here. You can look at the different seasons. One thing I generally look at when I'm looking at T20 cricket is I like to look at the stats per bowler. And this gives us the bowling average per bowler type. So first change bowler is the purple line, which has seen a drastic increase or decrease. It's doing really well. Fifth bowler's been great since Rian Ahmed came on the scene. And the other bowler is sixth bowler onwards. And you can look at this. So I can look at first and second bowlers in our lineups, just hold control to be able to look at them. I can see Gus Atkinson and Reece Topley have been very, very good in this role for us. And it makes you be able to make decisions about whether a guy is an opening bowler or whether he's going to be your first change bowler or fifth bowler. You can find the right place for him in the team. One in particular was Lewis Gregory, which was a good one for us. He was superb as a first change bowler for us, 8.49 economy rate. And likewise, you can do all the same things again, including looking at the cumulative strike rate, average and wickets of a bowler. Team gives you the full team breakdown. So if we're just going to look at Test cricket here, these are all the scorecards loaded into my game. In fact, we're going to look at ODI because we've seen we've got worse at this format. So we look at ODIs, the games that India's played in the database, 37.24 average, 97 strike rate. Our strike rate's not far off that, but the average is a long way down. If you click on a team, it will break it down. It'll update the latest scores that they've had, and also this scoring range, which I quite like. So up here, you're scoring really high, and it gives you the run ranges that you're in. There's a 300 line, a 200 line, and a 150. And you're just kind of looking where your dots are. And for us, our dots in 2017 were very high, and our dots coming into 2029-30 have started to decrease. Likewise, if we look at bowling, we can see in 2025 we were quite poor, and then they've slowly started to come down, and we're seeing more and more where we're bowling really well. You can see domestic history, so first class titles, ODI titles, T20 titles, other titles based on the domestic structure if you load that in. See the head-to-head record between teams. So if we look at us versus India, we can see all the times we've met. If we want to look at the different formats, we can look at Test cricket. And unfortunately, this one here where we played once was the World Test Championship final. You can look at sequencing for England. So the most wins we've ever had in a row is 9, coming all the way back in season 3 against Australia. And you can change these. You can just sort by clicking on them, and you can see we lost 5 in a row in season number 5. And then you can have a look at the rankings. So you can see how the rankings are going, your win percentage per format, and all the series that you've been playing. Player rankings are fully available. So I quite like this. So I can look at a player. So if I click on Ben Duckett, I can see his batter rating points, and I can see his end of year rating. I can see his ratings earned per year. And I can see here all his bat ratings per year as well. If we click on awards, there is an MVP award. So the more scorecards you get in here with multiple different teams, it works out who's got what awards. So looking at Ben Duckett, he's got 5 batting MVP awards for most points. Most points are done on full points for the season you're in. 75% I think it is for the year before, and 33% the year before that. He's been the best batter in terms of points accumulated in the ranking system in 26, 27, 28, ODI, T20 cricket, and the overall MVP for Test cricket as well. You can then, if you want, have a look at a player and have a look at the amount of points that he's been earning per game. I use this in the dashboard that I use for real international cricket. Then you've got the domestic rankings, and then you've got my version of the international rankings as well. Add to that, then you've got all the records, so you can see all the latest scores in the game. you can see the highest scores across every single format. And again, all these filters work absolutely fine. So if we just want to look at Team England, we can see ours. You can look at the lowest scores that teams have done, the match aggregates, the margin of runs for victory, which is quite prominent because we just got thrashed by Sri Lanka in another episode by 160 runs there. But you can see the biggest margin per team, biggest margin per wickets. You can see matches that have been won by an innings and the amount of runs associated to them, as in India gave us a good thrashing by an innings and 24 runs, so did Sri Lanka. And then there's some other stats. You can see who's carried their bat all the way through. You can look at bat hundreds in both innings. You can look at the best bowling figures across any format, any team. Best bowling wickets in the match, so 12 Ryan Ahmed for 111 is quite exceptional, and fifers in both innings. To click on any of these links, you just hold down Control and click on it. There's also a duplicate check in here as well, so you can look to see here if you find someone that has counted bat team as 2, then you might just want to check the data because you might have 2 people with the same name and you might just need to go in and change that. What I generally do is I go into a player, click on here, and I change his surname. So here I've changed this to Aaron Amos No Good. And now when it appears in the scorecard, it will appear something different. So that's the dashboard. Player statistics, team rankings, player rankings, records, user-friendly, customizable features. To sign up, all you need to do is go to the link below, which is buymeacoffee.com/leadingedgecricket. You'll be met with this page. It is worth noting, this is really tailored towards people with a PC. You need Excel and Power BI to do this, and it works best on a desktop, laptop, or anything like that. Won't really work on a mobile phone. There are multiple things here. There's the County Cricket Lover. We provide data for the history of County Championship cricket from 1890 to 2024, plus ball by ball records. And then this is the one you want. You want the County Cricket Stat Pack. Click join, and it'll give you the option of joining per month, per year. And then it will come up with something that looks like this, which gives you the step-by-step tutorial. And it will also give you the links to be able to download what you need. So this should appear into your downloads folder. What you need to do is right click on it and go to properties and click unblock. That will mean that the macros in it will be able to work. And it will look like this. All these different tabs, the red ones, try not to play around with too much. You can go in here, and this has created a blank one, but all your data is going to appear on these red ones, particularly these. But to load data on this front page, to get some data from the game, basically what you do is you go into fixtures and results, whichever one you want to, and you click on a game and click save scorecard. Do that for as many scorecards as you want. Generally, if I'm doing a domestic save, I do every single competition and every game, because then that allows me to analyze other players, and when they come on the market I can sign them. If it's for this one, for international cricket, I've just done my team. So here you can sort by team. I can look at England. It takes 2 minutes. I go through and click save. They then appear here. I'll post these details in the description as well, but this is where all your save files are. So you can see I've got season 7 I'm on now, and I take a little season snapshot at the end of every single season. So if I can go back to it, I can have a look at some data. And you end up with these files in here, like this one. These are just text documents. In the text documents, it's actually got all the details from the game. What I do is I just click one by one. Generally, when you've saved them, they'll all appear at the top, so you can just highlight them all, click on them, and I move them into any folder. I just call this one 1. And there we go. There's all the test matches that's been played in my save. And then going back to your Excel document, all you do is click on this folder, and I pin it into the side, but you go to that address and just don't go into the folder, just click on the one that you want to do, click OK, and then this is where the magic happens. Get text files, click it once. 77 done. Then click update stats, and then click update format, and this to me is test. So what's actually happened is it goes into here as raw format, and then it gets put across to here. Before you load any more after you've loaded a batch, just click the clear all button. So all these have now been updated. And then the best video I've found. So you need to install Power BI to be able to do the next bit. Now, Power BI is free to use. You just need a business account to download it, which is not an issue. I've done it. I've downloaded it. With a business account, I'm not a business. The best video I've found to do this is Guy in a Cube, which again, I'm going to link down below. Again, links down in the description below, but you go to Microsoft.com and you go to their enterprise section. And you only need to do this if you haven't got one already.
So let's go over to office.com. The second tip we're going to go with is to actually sign up for a trial. So an E3 or an E5 trial. The goal here is we need a work email address, right? So how do we get a work email address? We can sign up for a trial. This will create a tenant or organization for us that ends with onmicrosoft.com. So let me go and do that. Let's go to products. We can go down to, for business, we're going to go to enterprise. And then we're going to see different items here. So we can see E1, E3, E5. It doesn't matter which ones they have as long as the tenant gets created. In this case, I'm just going to go with an E5. So let's go down here and we'll say try for free. And with the magic of editing, bam, I've set up my E5 trial. So this user ID is going to be asaxon at getmesomepowerbi.onmicrosoft.com. So that's my work email address. I now have that.
Then once that's done, thanks to Guy in the Cube, I've just linked your video and I've put it in the video. Essentially, you've got your account. You can download Power BI. And when you're in here, if you're not already signed in, just sign in the top right. Then to get the file that you want to be using, click on File, go down to Options and Settings, and Data Source Settings. This is essentially going to link it to where your account is. So I go in here, I go to downloads, find the County Cricket Stat Pack, click open, click OK, close, and it will just say apply changes. And that's it, you're in. Hold down Control, go into batting. Now I can see everything that I've just uploaded. I've just loaded up every single test match. Now I can go in and see the demise of Joe Root. I can see Zach Crawley doing his thing when I didn't drop him when he was good. You don't have to play around with this stuff on the side unless you really want to learn how to do Power BI. Don't touch the table view unless, again, you know what you're doing with Power BI. These are all set up to take the data and it's got all the DAX measures and new calculations and everything in place. And don't mess up the model view, which is already in place. But essentially, just enjoy using it, controls to click, and yeah, it's a great piece of kit to add value to your county championship or international cricket captain 2024 save. Whenever I make updates to this, just always make your save if you want to pull in some additional data. So here I've got all my T20s under this one. Again, I just run the text file, pulls them in, update the stats, and I never end with a number. I always end for T20s. I find a different way to doing it. T20I in this situation, that's uploaded. Click Save, go back into my Power BI, click Refresh, and now we've got T20Is in Test Match Cricket as well. Tables, how to update tables so you get the ranking stuff working out. I haven't got a better way of doing this yet, but it will be in the pipeline. Essentially, I put the season in, the format. I always call the T20 competition like Blast or something like that, the division that they're in, the position where they finished in the group, the players, sorry, the teams, and then their records. And then they get a number based on if they went and won that competition. So if they won the Division 1 championship, they get a 1. Win the runners-up, sorry, get runners-up, they get that. Relegated, they get a 1 there. Wooden spoons, same. Royal London Cup, you need to go through this manually. Put in the quarterfinal. So if they made the quarterfinal, you put a 1. If they if they made and got exited at the quarterfinal, put a 1. Made and exited at the semi-final, put a 1. If they won it, put a 1. Likewise for the Blast here, we can see that Worcestershire got a 1. And then I go through and I put the overall position, which is important. I put a 1 if it's got a if they won it, 2 if they were runners up, 3 and 4 if they were in the semi-finals, and I normally rank it by points and then net run rate, and then I just work my way through it. And again, it only takes 10 minutes, but it adds some immersion into the team, into the save, and allows you to just keep progressing in the right direction. Likewise, you can put in the test match ratings here as well if you'd like. Finances, there's nothing actually built in the dashboard for finances at the moment. That is really usable. If you scroll along the bottom, you will find something called finances. This is a work in progress, trying to work how to do it, but you can see you need to take this manually. So if I go into my teams, I can look on finance and their financial information is here. Pop it into here, of which most of this is automated. So you're putting your basic, rebates, CC, RLC and blast, and the total's sorted. And then you just put in the player contracts and everything else is sorted. There will be more to do with this in the future, but again, it does create something quite interesting, and I'll be able to correlate it against ranking points and things like that. Series, again, I just input these manually. Put the team, put the opponent, location, team score, opponent score. And I do that for every single one that I play, and it allows me to keep track of what's going on in my save, who I've done well against, who I've done bad against, how many series have I won. Likewise, the tournaments tab, I just keep, this doesn't actually do anything, I don't think, in the database, but it's just something to keep track of. Rankings tab, this works in a slightly different way. It's got a baseline of year 0, so you can take the rankings at the start of your save for international teams, and they actually appear here, which is pretty cool. So if you're looking, this is in the teams tab, looking at international history, I can view the rankings per year. So I can see the demise of Australia. If we look at Test cricket, they've gone from number 2 down to number 7. Likewise, England have stayed at number 1 the whole time. And really, ODI cricket is where they've fallen off the most. So I really like being able to use that. Essentially, as a bit of kit, the more data you put into it, the more impressive and user-friendly it becomes. Managing duplicates, I touched on that if you find a duplicate in your data, and I'd probably do this after every upload, you'll see something like this where you see them playing for more than one team. Here I know it's a problem because I've just got international games loaded, so I know I've got duplicates in my data. If you do domestic cricket, particularly some countries, you end up with a lot of duplicates. The way to deal with this, I've got a Ben Duckett appearing twice in 2024. So if I click on it, I can see that there's a game here against the England West Indies that may have gone to the Super Over and the code's just got a bit confused. So what you can do, you can go into Excel, you can put a little filter on, data filter, and you might want to look for a Ben Duckett. And if you go to the West Indies, it'll tell you the match ID. So match ID 38 on the 18th of the 11th, 2024, which is here. And you can see that England batted, West Indies batted. If we look at the format, it's a T20I, and then it went to the next innings, and it's just got slightly confused in the code. So I can update these to make them right. Let's say we wanted to change Luke Crow's name. You click on his name. Like I've said previously, you could change his name to B Crow. So it would actually appear as LB Crow. And then if you want to make sure they're all the same, you'll do LB Crow like that. So everyone in the past will show right. You don't need to re-download the scorecards, and everyone in the future will show that as well. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it. A trip down all the data that's been built in the background for this game. I hope you enjoy using it. If you've got any problems at all, reach out in the comments down below. Likewise, my email will be available as well, and you can ping me on there and I can assist. But please provide any screenshots for any defects that you will find, and there will be iterations of this released. I'm always working on it, so whenever I make a change and improvements, you'll be notified via email as a signed up member, and you'll get access to the latest and greatest. Thanks for watching.